What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCG University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be showing you the Tim Keefe deck that we played for this week's Campus Championship. Let's jump into it. All right, so Tim Keefe. Tim Keefe is a really rad deck. It's actually this is a small advancement on the deck that I ran at Worlds this past year, not 2020 obviously, but 2019. And I gotta say, it was this deck was a blast. This deck was super fun. So with that said, let's get into what Tim Keefe wants to do. So Tim Keefe has been errated so that his first response, his top response, is only playable twice per turn. Look at the do 2 of it. And his bottom enhance also says twice per turn. So I'm sealing my opponent's coolest answers as well as extending my turn by playing out some unorthodox checks, so like playing additional cards. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the attack lineup, and you'll see how that response is really good in this deck. So the first attack that we're playing is we're playing for Kimbo. This is just a combo card. It lets me draw a ton of extra resources for each foundation in my card pool, and with Tim Keefe I get to build really easy. It's super simple on like turn 2 if I've got an okay build to play 3 foundations and then play in a Kimbo at the end. The Kimbo would normally be on a 4+3, so 7. I check my 5, respond with Tim Keefe, and then it passes, and then it's pretty much, it says draw 3 cards for free. As a 3 high for 8, because the first foundation in my card pool probably has a 5 check, excuse me, and sealing my opponent's coolest answer. This is just an all-around fantastic poke card, as well as lets me combo off later in the turn. Best card in the game, honestly, is a Nutcracker. This card's just value town, and so why would we not play it? It lets me add in foundations into my card pool anywhere that I'd like, so I can add them next to the card that I want and then play an additional resource, and then it lets me Tim Keefe a little more free. As well as drawing cards and breaker and speed and damage. This card's just like, this card does everything. It's the Swiss Army attack. And then my favorite attack in the deck for Power Flip. This is the main attack that we're basing the entire deck around. I want to abuse cards that will build up into my staging area and then build back down. I think this engine can exist inside of Earth into pretty much anybody, but I think Tim Keefe plays it exceptionally well, being a 7-hand size character that is allowed to just cheat a bunch of foundations in. We'll cheat foundations in, we'll drag them all down. Like playing 3 foundations into an akimbo into a power flip. Akimbo lets me redraw those foundations back. Power flip lets me build all those foundations down. It's just like, it's kind of a match made in heaven. There's a ton of just like easy combos that just exist in the deck using all of Cassie Cage's support. But that is the last Cassie attack that we're playing. Instead, we are playing 4 Missile Launcher because people gotta die. I'm probably in the future going to be cutting this down to a 3 of, because every time that I checked it, I felt like it was so detrimental, and so reducing that risk by just a little bit might be where it needs. But anytime that it hit the board, my opponent pretty much died that turn. This card's insane and still should exist in most Earth decks. In addition to that, we're playing Double Dark Cherry Toe, kind of in the same vein of Missile Launcher. This card just shuts off some decks. Oh, are you playing a multiple? Well, I have Dark Cherry Toe in my card pool. You can't. Are you going to reduce my damage? No, you can't do that. And so it lets me, if the first attack that I play is Dark Cherry Toe, not to mention the multiple 2, which grabbing momentum is super simple in this deck. The multiple 2, along with Tim Keefe being able to shut off, the static on the card plus Tim Keefe being able to shut off specific key pieces in my opponent's staging area, it's a hell of a control card with a solid block and can accidentally kill people, especially late in the chain. And the last big thing about this card in Tim Keefe in particular is Tim Keefe looks at a printed difficulty, and a multiple copies printed difficulty is 0. So if I can easily have a hand and play Dark Cherry Toe and then play another Dark Cherry Toe. I check my 5, respond with Tim Keefe on here. Normally this would be on an 8. Well, I'm only going to commit 1 foundation, and then I can keep multipling out, or so on and so forth. Like there's just a lot of really good plays that happen with Cherry Toe. Last couple attacks we've got 1 Voice of the Abyss. Fantastic reversal inside of this deck. Just the ability to turn off all of my opponent's cool things is very strong, plus being able to seal my opponent's card is really good. And it's really easy to block reversal. I can block with pretty much whatever foundation that I want and then play my reversal. And it's on a 7, check my 5, respond to Tim Keefe. I've now passed it without committing any cards. The reason this card is so good, so it's good, which makes it a high difficulty, and Tim Keefe just kind of gets to ignore that. And then the last attack that we're playing is 1 Dragon's Tongue. This card is just kind of a bit of a reboot. Hey, let's restart the game. I'm not in love with where it is. And it's one of the highest difficulty cards that you can have. So it's possible to get your Tim Keefe bonus to happen off of Dragon's Tongue after Voice of the Abyss, which 9 times out of 10 just won't happen. It's got a 1 mid block, powerful 5 randomly. This card's very, very strong, very situationally. It could easily exist in the sideboard, but because we don't play with those in the Campus Championship, I decided to main board one. On our actions and assets, we are playing 3 Know the Power of the Abyss, being able to discard the top 10 cards of our deck into our discard pile and then pick up a power flip in order to just ruin your entire day is very, very good. Not to mention, it puts the speed of the attack to 0, which means this is like a super, super easy block. I'll block with an easy foundation and then build it back down with power flip. Under our assets, we're playing quite a few of them. We're playing 1 Omega Sword and an Owl Shield. Makes our blocks easy, makes our attacks hit a little harder. 1 Coludus to flip problem cards. What's better than sealing them for 1 turn? Flipping them forever. 1 Elk Shield, a free block from my staging area, and it says that the attack deals deals 1 damage. So blocking Vicious Madnesses and such of this feels very good. There will definitely be more in the sideboard. 1 Cormorant, for the same reason of Omega Sword and Elk Shield. I'd like to play 1 and 1 and then side the other Elk to replace the Cormorant whenever I'm fading a throw-heavy deck, but I don't like wasting value of both of these having the unique keyword. I want to have both of them in my my staging area just for that utter control. And the last card, probably the only deck that can run it with a straight face, is 1 Pink Gi. It just says under the Earth symbol without having to run an action like Stop, which I just didn't want to run in the deck this time. After my opponent plays an ability on the character card, I can just cancel it by removing this. Also, it says, if this deck's not blocked, I get to draw 2 cards. If it is blocked, my opponent draws 1. It feels really good on the power flip reversal to, and you'll see the combo, add their whole staging area up and then say, hey, if you don't block this power flip, I'm going to draw 2 cards. And if you do block it, that's fine because you've added another card into your staging area. Another card into your card pool, and just essentially ending your turn a little quicker. So under our foundations, let's talk about the aggressive ones. I've got double 1 with Nature, one of the best aggressive foundations in the game. Discard one of these useless cards to make one of my cool orange cards hit you. A little speed, little damage, or block modifier. It's basically speed. We are playing 4 Fusion Refusal. This card is MVP in this deck. It takes all of your power flips and makes them absolutely insane. Because a playable wall committed, add this card up to your card pool for +2 damage, and then you power flip it back down. Not only have I re-readied the foundation because it has moved back down, but I could then, if I wanted to, add it back up. And the more importantly for this deck, this card, if it's added to the card pool, not played, if it was added to the card pool, it does not count towards progressive difficulty, which means that you can add it in with things like Nutcracker, and then it doesn't count as progressive, which means playing your next Nutcracker or your Power Flipper or whatever. We do get the bonus off Tim Keefe, but we don't even have to count Fusion Refusal. Card's insane. Card's insane. On to a little bit of extra speed. We're playing 3 Second Saintly Beast. This is a speed pump more than it is a speed reduction, but it can use both, so we can leave it here. Breaker 1, a little extra discard because we want to get these cool Fusion Refusals and other cards into our discard pile in order to keep comboing off. On to some flow, we're playing 1 Dreaming of Becoming Whole. I think this card is playable out of 1 of in pretty much everything. For all of these symbols, just discard momentum. Use that resource that you've already used to make your next attack sting pretty easy. It's half of Tim Keefe, and it's playable more than twice per turn, and it's playable while committed, which is just fantastic. And then once per turn, after you do discard a momentum, you get to ready this guy back up. We are playing 4 Sense of Morals. It goes into the card pool very similarly to Fusion Refusal and doesn't count towards progressive. And if my opponent attempts to commit any of my cool cards, I get to ready them back up. Up next, we're playing Double Hell's Reach, a once per game flip ready this card. We are running 2s, and so bad checks do happen to happen. Even though we get to loop up our check with Tim Keefe, that's okay. If I do check a little poor, I can just say, hey, just kidding, that it actually didn't happen. Up next, we're playing Double Fallen Angels. This is just to guarantee that my checks pass. Maybe I have a very clutch play that I want to do, or honestly, even playing an attack on turn 1. It's super easy to go Fallen Angels late into a chain. Going Foundation, Fallen Angels, look at the top card of my deck. Oh, it's a 5. I'll play the Kimbo. I know it's going to pass. This card is just a very, very good value. On to some defense, we're playing 3 Bakery Poster Girl, being able to reset that speed to 0. A playable while committed ability. Feels really good to block with this and then build it down with the flip kick. It feels really, really powerful. Hey, I blocked this one. I'm going to block the next one. In the same vein of minus speed, we've got 4 Guardian of the Spirit Sword. This card just says that once per turn, -2, possibly -3, and I get to add cool assets to my hand. We are playing a bunch of assets, as you saw. So being able to pick up an Elk Shield, being able to pick up a Cormorant whenever I want is pretty solid. One refusing to let go. Sometimes blocking isn't necessary if I can just put your attacks printed damage to printed -2. Really, really effective versus multiples. Could easily be sided out for a more tech card if you feel like it. Up next, we've got 2 Hellfire Despair. This should have just been a 1-of in the deck. After an attack is played, flip. It cannot increase, its damage can't be modified. So you can't increase or decrease it. Really good if you're playing against something along the lines of Scorpion. The enhance is pretty much not useful, which is why it should probably just be a 1-of. I was testing it out in the deck, so I wanted to see more of it. We're playing 1 Shadow Inheritance. I think this card is fine, but it's almost exclusively used for the response on defense. So if I have a foundation in my card pool already, and I attempt to play another one, before I attempt to play, I can respond and reduce the block modifier for every previous non-attack in my card pool. So if my opponent is playing a bunch of stuffing my cards for face downs, I think I would actually keep this card in the sideboard for the water matchup. If it existed, but just because card pool stuffing is it's still very potent. It exists in the game. Maybe it doesn't have to be mainboarded, but the fact that it also has the response for each of my cards in my card pool might exist as well. It really depends. It depends on the flavor of the meta call, I think. On a little more speed reduction, destroy committed foundation for -2 speed. This card gets me out of deadlock, which is actually really important in the deck. It's very, very, very easy as Tim Keefe to just build a million foundations and not feel bad about it because of lubing up our check so efficiently. On to Disruption, we're playing 3 Dark Side of Karma. This card says that I can cancel any ability, and it also is a -speed, which is why it's so close to the other defensive cards. But the main reason we want this in here is my opponent's going to do a cool thing. I'll cancel it, and then I'll seal the other problem card that exists in your staging area. My favorite card in this deck, it could probably be a 3-of, but I want to play it at a 4-of, is 4 Bastion Stance. This card says that from your staging area, you add it up to your card pool. Your opponent has to add one of their committed cards to their card pool, and then using Power Flip, you just bring it back down. This card's fantastic. The fact that Power Flip already has stun 1 means they're going to have at least 1 committed card. If they had to commit any because of a failed check, it feels really good. Force them to add up 3 cards and then build them back down. And if you want to, because there's a new instance of the card, you can just add another 3 back. The fact that this Earth deck has the capabilities to introduce this card pool flooding mechanic is really, really strong. And the flip, seal one of my opponent's cool foundations, is not an ability to be slept on. Like, Tim Keefe is super, super strong with that ability, and so we've got just 4 extra bullets of that exists inside the deck. Up next, we're playing 1 Ominous Prophecy. I can name a keyword and cancel it. Hey, no reversals. I don't want that to happen. No multiples. I don't have an answer. Or I can just add an asset to momentum. It can even be mine if I need to. 1 Servant of Ares, pay 2 vitality, flip one of my opponent's foundations. That's pretty good. The plus on the throw doesn't exist, but it could in a different Tim Keefe deck. We're playing triple Overly Dramatic. This card just cancels. It has the word cancel, and its description is so big on what it does cancel. There's no way for it. There's no way for it not to exist in the deck. Some people play this at a 4-of. Honestly, I was just trying to. I was hard pressed to find room. Up next, we've got 1 Spiritual Connection. After the combat phase begins, name a cool card, but more importantly, instead of the build, I want to stop my opponent from continuing to attack me. So after they play an attack card, if I take damage from it, I can force them to play a non-attack, hopefully ending their turn. Playing 1 Protecting the Protector. It's just a catch-22 or a catch-all for abilities that destroy, flip, remove, or seal. One of the worst thing that happens to Tim Keefe is he gets banged, right? Banged on a really important turn. Just discard momentum. Hey, cancel that from happening. Foundations are cool, and we want to leave them where they are. Double Pursuing a Vendetta. After my foundation would leave due to my opponent's ability, another one gets added back in. It's really fun to add Dark Side of Karma back into your card pool into your staging area after something gets removed because of the fact that it is playable while committed. As you said before, bangs and other actions are very scary, so flip one Goro's Victory Pose. This card could easily be cut. I just wanted it to exist in the deck, and honestly, versus something like a Punch and Judy deck, which is really easy to, it's really easy to count to 20 in a Punch and Judy deck. Just being like, hey, you played your punch, I'll stop it right now. You do get to pick up the Judy, but you just don't get to play it this turn, or play this attack. I'll see if I can survive next time. One Beast Hunter, after opponent plays the second attack this combat phase, I get to flip it, or second of an attack, of a named attack, and then I can possibly unflip 2 foundations, depends on what I need. One Castaway and Forgotten seals an attack. I mean, sealing foundations is good, sealing attacks are better. After my opponent attempts to pick up or draw any cards, I'm going to cancel it. Another playable while committed. Doesn't have a block. Please be careful. And then lastly, one Familiar Face is actions are scary. And so being able to just response, destroy, stop an action, it's a little bit better than the Goro's Victory Pose that we were playing. I couldn't think of it for a second. For the Goro's Victory Pose that we were playing. But it's it's fine. Honestly, I think it could be cut. And so there you have it. There's the Tim Keefe deck that we played for this week's Campus Championship. If you like it, make sure that you check out the matches that Tim played, as well as go out to twitch.tv/TCUniversity and follow the channel so you get notifications whenever we go live. And we film all of these awesome matches for you live out there. And if you want to support the channel, the best way to do that is by going to patreon.com/TCUniversity. Sub out there at any of the levels. Get access to a bunch of extra content, as well as a personal Discord. And yeah, it helps the channel out a ton. So, from all of us here at TCGU, thank you very much for watching, and stay